So a lot of the clients you're going to be looking after are what you could call high performance people. The most important thing to remember when you're looking after high performance people is they can't lose. They cannot fail. It's not in their makeup. Everything they do, they will turn into a success. So even if they have a business that goes completely bankrupt and they're back to square one, they are people that we will rebuild that business, and they will be millionaires, billionaires again, I can absolutely guarantee you. And it's that level of commitment that they're looking for in their staff. Now, of course, they're not looking for staff who are themselves entrepreneurs. They're not looking for people who are trying to build a business, because obviously that wouldn't be useful. But what they are looking for people is people that don't accept failure, people that just don't have it in their minds to say the words, that's good enough. Let me tell you something as a butler. If you ever say, that's good enough, do it again. Because that is the sign that you know that it's not good enough. Whatever it be, from making a coffee to making a bed to doing the household accounts. If you think it's just good enough, start again from scratch. Do it perfect, or as close to perfect as is humanly possible, as within your capabilities to do. Because that is what these clients are expecting. If you want to be a top level butler, looking after top level people, then you can't be someone who just be like, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, I've already been working for 18 hours, that'll do, I'm going to bed. Because I'll be honest with you, if that's you, and I can understand if that is you, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people think I'm mad working a 24-hour day, which I have done many times in the past. I've been literally working for 24 hours to get the job done. Now, if you don't want to do that, I'm not going to argue with you. I totally understand. But you will only ever get to a certain level if you won't do that. I'm not trying to put you off being a butler. It's a great job. And I'm not saying that you're going to be doing that every single day. Of course you're not. But sometimes you will. And you've got to be happy about it. There's certain terms within the industry that are used a lot. Ultra high net worth individuals is a very popular one. What does that actually mean? Well, it means people who have a ultra or a very big high net worth. Problem with that is it doesn't really tell you anything about who they actually are. It tells you a bit about the size of their bank balance. To me, it gets used, I would say, quite often not very accurately to describe people who are just millionaires. That's not being ultra high net worth. I mean, to be honest, if you have a semi-detached house in central London, you're already a multi-millionaire, aren't you? Because that's how much they cost. But really, ultra high net worth, we're looking at people who have more than $1 billion accessible to them. That's not to say they own a company that's valued over $1 billion. That's to say they personally have those kind of funds, which is not the same thing. That's why these people are not common. They're not, and I don't mean that in a class distinction, I mean that as in there's not many of them. Now, there's only two things that they really value. And one of those is not money. One of them is trust, and the other one is time. So they are the two things that you, as a butler, are bringing to them. Or if you're not a butler, if you're a PA or a concierge or anyone else who's watching this video who thinks it might help them, trust and time. You have to prove to them you're a good, honest person who has their best interests at heart. And you have to prove to them that you're going to save them time, because they can't buy time. But maybe they can pay your wages and you will make them time. Out of those two things, trust is of course the hardest one to create. Because what can you do to make someone trust you? Well, actually, it's very simple. You conduct yourself with integrity. You tell the truth. If you make a mistake, you own up to that mistake. You never try and blame other people. You never try and blame the circumstances. You don't say, I've already been working for 20 hours today, I'm tired, I got it wrong. No. To me, that's the same as if you go into a restaurant and the service is bad and you say to the waiter, I'm really unhappy about the service, and they tell you, oh, well, we've got someone off sick, so we're having to work extra hard. I don't see how that's my problem. You know? And that is exactly the same as how the clients will see it if you're telling them you're too tired to do a good job. Now, I know I'm laying it down very hard in this particular video, but it's the truth. I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube talking about how to sell to ultra high net worth, how to deal with them, how to etc. etc. And having watched them, I'm very confident that those people have never really dealt with high net worth individuals. I can well believe they've sold them a Ferrari. I can well believe they've sold them a super yacht, a private jet, for millions of pounds. And I appreciate that there's techniques that they've used and they've managed to create a rapport. But I can also tell you, as a butler, and those of you who are going to become butlers will definitely know this, in the future at least, that quite often, after making that sale, the individual who's just bought it has, to be honest, thought that person was a total idiot and not really appreciated the sort of techniques that he tried to use on him. I mean, he's bought the yacht anyway because he wanted it, but in spite of the salesperson, not because of them. Because the first mistake people make is assuming that they're more intelligent than these high-performance individuals. Now, let me tell you something. If you're dealing with someone who's created a multi-billion-pound company, even if they've kept one going that may have been they may have inherited, but even to keep one going, I guarantee you they're intelligent. To be honest, they're probably more intelligent than yourself. I don't know who you are, but they're more intelligent than myself, because otherwise I'd be them, wouldn't I? Now, so never think they're stupid, never underestimate them. The days of the idle witch, of the Jeeves and Wooster, they're gone. The only element of that could be really still true today would be the minutiae of life that, to be honest, they don't want to be bothered with. So, okay, they probably have no idea how much a pint of milk is. They have maybe no idea how to use the tube. They may have no idea how to do things that the average person would find very simple. But they don't need to know that. So why would they? They don't care. Not interested. That's your job. You sort that out for them. So, that's the first thing. As well, I sort of touched on trust. One little exercise that I've suggested to clients before as a test of their staff. I'll have to come up with a new one now, because I've spoken about this on this, so I'll have to come up with a new one. But when your butler valet is hanging up your clothes or putting them into wash, just leave a £50 note in the pocket. See what they do. Or yourself, when you're the butler valet and there's a 50 or roll of 50s, whatever, in the pocket. What do you do? Now, I'm certainly hoping that none of you are thinking, I'll put that in my pocket and keep it. Because if you are, then you might as well stop watching now, to be honest, because you can't be a butler. Simple as that. You have to be 100% honest and act with 100% integrity. If you can't do that, honestly, don't continue. But you've got a couple of choices what to do. Now, you could put it back in the pocket, but of course if you're laundering it, if you're sending it to the dry cleaners, that's just silly. Even if you're hanging it up in their wardrobe, they probably don't want the money just left in the pocket of their jacket. What you want to do is put it somewhere prominent, maybe the side table of their bed, maybe on the desk in their study, something like that. Maybe with a little post-it note stuck to it just saying, this was in your brown jackets, just thought I'd put it here for you. Now, that's just a little proof of integrity, of your honesty, and of your thoroughness, because you need to be thorough. You need to be going through the pockets, making sure that they've not left anything that shouldn't be in there. And for clients that are watching, like sometimes people who are new to having butlers or valets, yes, the butler valet should go through your pockets. If you don't want them to, please say so. And then of course they won't. But when they're putting away your clothes, they should be making sure that you've not left a pen in the pocket that could leak, that there's not dirty tissues that you don't want to put your hand in the next day and find some dirty tissues. So they should go through your pockets. Okay, so that's trust. Next thing is time. Time is the most valuable thing that a butler gives their clients. So everything you do, think, is this saving the principal time and effort? For example, one of the things that people often fall down on is they have to send their daily, weekly, monthly, depending how it works, logs through to the client, especially if they're not in residence. You might be looking after their house. Quite often you're looking after an empty house for prolonged periods of time. It's very important that you keep a very detailed, blow-by-blow log of everything that happens, every contractor that comes in, what the staff are working, how much the staff are being paid, anything that's broken, anything that needs replacing. You keep that, it's detailed. Now, the principal's not going to read, realistically, that whole log certainly not on a daily basis, maybe not on a weekly basis, plausibly not even on a yearly basis, unless you highlight something to them that needs doing. If you are highlighting something that needs doing, put that as a separate note in the email. So you'll have the attachment, which has all the fine detail, and as a separate note, keep it short and to the point. Dear Sir, Madam, the filter in the swimming pool has developed a fault. And actually, here's an important thing as for time. Don't send them one saying, the filter in the swimming pool has developed a fault. Do you want me to do something about it? Well, of course they want you to do something about it. It's faulty. You'll probably need their okay, or you might need their okay, depending on the price of what's being fixed. I can build this up. It's not the filter. There's a crack in the bottom of the swimming pool. It's going to cost tens of thousands to fix. So you can't just be spending that sort of their money without checking. But what you should do, dear sir, madam, there's a crack in the swimming pool. I fully investigated it. Attached are 3 quotes from reputable companies saying what work needs to be carried out and how much it will cost. My recommendation is Company A. I have fully researched their credentials, spoken to people that they have previously worked for, and they've all come through with excellent reports. The price seems fair. My recommendation is you go ahead and this is how it's done. A couple of paragraphs. That's all that is needed. If they want more detail, they will ask you for more detail, and they may well do. But they're travelling the world between business meetings, shall we say, or maybe in holiday between doing whatever they're doing. They don't want you to put this, don't answer in essay questions. Answer in bullet points. This needs doing. This is how it can be fixed. Would you like me to go ahead? Quite often you'll find their answer will be very curt. It will be something like confirmed or yes, go ahead. Something like that. Just a couple of words. Now don't be offended by that. Just remember that's why you're there, to save them time. Don't be upset that they're not saying, "Oh, Simeon, how are you? Thank you so much for looking after my house. Please, I hope you're well, blah, 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 blah." They probably won't, not unless they're bored. It's just the job. So anything you do should be make the lifestyle that they lead more efficient. Give them more time for business, more time for pleasure. Because the important thing to remember is that most of these people are also working very hard, just like you are. Like I said, the days of the idle rich are very much over. These people are working 10, 12 hours a day, and then they're hitting the gym, and then they're going socialising. They've got very full days. And you're there to make it all flow nicely. Okay, so I'm going to pick up on this. I don't want to make the videos too long so you get too bored of me speaking. But I'm going to pick up on this thread a few times and try and give you a bit more advice, because actually this sort of, should we say, just psychological ways of thinking as a butler will probably be as useful to you as anything else. It's actually very important to remember that these people are exactly the same as you and I. The only difference is they've got a lot more choices about what they do. Okay, so I'm just going to leave you with that thought. But thanks very much.